It's Monday, Giants Nation. It is officially the final week of preseason, week number 4. Welcome back to the channel. This week, the New York Giants will be taking on the New England Patriots. That'll be on Thursday night, and that'll be in Foxborough. Before that, I'm just going to give you all the updates that I'm getting out of Giants camp as it stands right now. Any news and updates that I've heard, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to start off with a couple injury reports first here. Some good news in regards to Sterling Shepard. He is officially not wearing the splint on the thumb that he injured day 1 of training camp. So that's great to see, because even when Tate does return from that suspension, Sterling Shepard is the wide receiver star of this group. Now he's out of the shadow of Odell Beckham Jr. It's finally his chance to take the reins as the number 1 of this team. He's definitely poised to have a breakout season this year. In other news, in regards to Golden Tate, he did return to practice. He was wearing a non-contact yellow jersey over his regular practice jersey. You know, you're happy to see him back and practicing, even if it is non-contact, but realistically, it's not really that big of a deal. The finish line for him is week 5. You know, is he going to get some time in this final preseason game against the Patriots? Most likely, yes. Just to, you know, give him his final taste of action before, you know, essentially a 4-week break. So as I've said, you know, it's great to see him back healthy, which is always important. But mainly the finish line for him is week number 5. So take your time, slow recovery. He's got plenty of it. Cornerback DeAndre Baker did some work with the 11-on-11 team scrimmage, which is awesome. So now he's doing both individuals and the team scrimmage, and it was kind of nice. He was working alongside Corey Ballantyne, who, if you watched my Giants Bengals review, you know I am very, very high on. And with Ballantyne and Baker working together as the first team, it's kind of a glimpse into the future. In that same video, my takeaways from that preseason game against the Bengals, I mentioned that I believe by the end of this season, we're gonna have 2 rookie cornerbacks starting for us. One a 6th rounder, one a 1st rounder, both starting cornerbacks. And how we get there is up for discussion, but I truly believe by season's end, these 2 are going to be our guys. So it's great to see Baker back in practice. Moving on, linebacker Alec Ogletree is officially back in practice. He's returned from that calf injury. Although he is back, and again in my review, our interior linebacking core is very thin, very young and inexperienced, so it's good to have him back on the field as kind of that veteran to guide the younger core of guys in that interior linebacker group. But actually, the Giants decided to run first team once again with Tae Davis and Ryan Connolly, maybe slowly working Ogletree back into that starting rotation, but they're still going with the 2 young guys. I was very critical of Tae Davis on his performance, I should say, in that preseason game, because he just didn't look good. He got exposed, the inexperience showed, but it seems that the Giants have a lot of confidence in his abilities. Because he was still out there with the first team with Ryan Connolly, but I do expect Alec Ogletree to be a starter for us going forward, especially as we enter the regular season. And pinch me, I must be dreaming. This can't be real. Sam Beal. Yes, Sam Beal, the paycheck collector, did individual workouts yesterday. He participated in practice. But don't get too excited. Don't think he's back. Don't get excited. As quick as the tweet went out from Matt Lombardo saying Beal is participating in individual drills, that second tweet came right out saying, well, now Beal is jogging on the sideline with trainers. Well, I mean, I suppose this is a positive that he's finally participating in some capacity in practice with his teammates. But, I mean, in regards to Sam Beal, we all know the story. Just injuries, missed the entire season last season. He's constantly being hampered throughout training camp now. legitimately no playing time on the field whatsoever. But the man does not lack confidence. He told reporters when he was asked, what's your strong suit? You know, what do you believe is your strong suit? What's your best asset? He replies, I can't name it. I have too many of them. For a guy that hasn't seen a moment of live action, I'm happy to see he has confidence, but it's beginning to get tougher to decipher whether this is confidence or delusion. I mean, it's good to have self-confidence, be confident in your abilities, but at the same time, I don't know if I missed an entire season. Now I'm missing virtually the entire preseason of the following season. I'd be touting my abilities. I'd probably try and stay humble, but hey, who am I to judge? Like I said, for him, I hope nothing but the best. I hope it's similar to an Odell Beckham situation when he was a rookie, where he missed a ton of time throughout camp, even missed time in the regular season. But once he got on the field, we saw why the Giants dealt with that. Well, for a couple years. He went on to tell reporters that he has no plans whatsoever to be put on IR this season and will make the 53-man roster. That choice might not be entirely up to him whether or not he goes on IR. He should probably be focusing on getting healthy at this point. He did indicate to reporters that he was going to do whatever it took, and he planned on playing this Thursday against the Patriots. So I really do hope we see him, even if it's for one series on defense. Just to see him with pads on the field is going to be a breakthrough for this team after everything that we've gone through with Sam Beal. That's my spiel on Beal. Nope, rhyme intended. But like as I said, I really do hope we see him soon. Moving right along here, Rod Smith, who we knew injured his groin in that preseason game against the Bengals, was just riding a bike on the sideline. You know, this is essentially, or yesterday I should say, was essentially his day one of rehabbing that groin injury. And then Kenny Ladler, the young defensive back, he also didn't participate in practice. Nothing's really come out about his injury or what it exactly was, but I'll make sure to keep you up to date on that. And to wrap up the injury report, just a few more here. Our young 7th round draft pick guard, George Asafo-Edgy, did suffer a concussion, and he is in concussion protocol. So the Giants obviously being very cautious with this. This is actually the first time that he's missed any practice time in over a month. Definitely a model of consistency. You know, a 7th round pick needs to put in that work to prove that he's worth putting on that 53-man, because as a 7th rounder, absolutely nothing is guaranteed. And then lastly, Antonio Hamilton, still hobbled by that groin injury he suffered in preseason week 2. He was also just working out and doing light running on the sideline with trainers, so hopefully he is back up and running very soon. But that's all I have for you today as far as the injury report for the Giants, all the major names and headlines. Moving forward now, I do have some news about the Giants quarterback situation for multiple reasons. I mean, the biggest story in the NFL right now is centered around the retirement of Andrew Luck. Now, before I get into any of the news that I've heard in regards to this, on a personal level, it was really sad to see how this was taken by Indianapolis fans. Now, I give them the benefit of the doubt. All they knew when they booed him out of the stadium was that he was retiring. They didn't hear his side or any side. News just kind of broke that Andrew Luck was retiring. And to be quite honest, I can't say that I wouldn't have acted differently if I found out the star quarterback of my team was retiring. We'd probably all rejoice in the streets. But that's a different situation for the Giants. But one thing I really want to touch on is the reaction even after his press conference. This was a man that's just beaten down, a hard-nosed football player who, as he said, went through injury, recovery, like playing with pain constantly. I can only imagine what coming back from a 12-month rehab just to be sidelined again, and now you're facing more rehab. Like, even some of the mentally strong, clearly it's a burden. So for Andrew Luck, I mean, a Stanford guy, best of luck in your future. I'm sure he's going to do something amazing with his life. He played football at a very high level, at the highest level possible. And now in regards to the reaction, I will never understand the burning of a player's jersey. First of all, these jerseys cost more money than they should for how much it probably costs to make them, what we as fans pay to support our team and our favorite players. The burning of jerseys will never make sense to me. It's something that started way back when, the first one I can remember, when LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami. It's just a disrespectful act by these fans. It's basically saying, I don't care what you did for my franchise. You're leaving now, so I hate you. When Odell Beckham got traded, no one was burning Odell jerseys. I mean, maybe there was, but us real fans didn't. When Landon Collins signed with rival Washington, that thought didn't even cross my mind. These players put their lives at stake every time they step on the field, their well-being, their health at stake. Yes, are they being compensated extraordinarily well? But still, they're going through this for us. And to disrespect them just because, oh, I'm mad you're leaving, it's not right. I mean, I guess people handle their grief differently, but I just feel like anyone who puts their body on the line for your entertainment, you just have to respect. And if it's their wish to move on, you have to respect it. Daniel Jones is starting in preseason. In all seriousness, so the report came out that the New York Giants have decided to sit Eli Manning for the final game of preseason, and in the place of Eli Manning will be Daniel Jones, who gets the start. Now, there's a lot to read into about this specifically, and I'm going to get into what Shermer and Gettleman said later in the video, right after I talk about this. But to me, when I heard the news, I thought of two things. One, we're giving Eli a bit of a rest. He's working hard in training camp, in the practices, to get ready for week one, which is what's most important. Giving Eli that week off so he doesn't have to prepare for his one drive against the Patriots, and just completely focus on getting ready for Dallas. So I entirely agree with sitting Eli, although he is the Iron Man and really never gets injured, even with all of the hits he takes. Just sitting him, getting him ready for Dallas, not having him worry about this final preseason game, especially because his roster spot's safe. Week 4 is about salvaging roster spots. It is your final attempt to make the squad. Week 3 is where you kind of set yourself apart out from your group. Week 4 is about those guys that are kind of on the fringe. Like, am I going to, am I not going to? Last time to really show out. But the other thing I thought of when I heard this headline, this could be kind of a rehearsal, if you will. Daniel Jones kind of learning how a starting QB gets ready for the week, learning how, the process goes, how you practice the week of, maybe just to groom him for the inevitable change coming at some point, which I definitely believe could be this season. Especially if we have a poor start, Daniel Jones needs to be slated as the starting quarterback at some point. But this is going to be good experience for him. As I said, he's going to play that role of the starting quarterback, go through the practice, go through the pregame, all of that stuff just to get him ready. It's a grooming thing for him. So I'm excited to see how he takes it. Yet another challenge for Daniel Jones. He's looked very impressive both his play on the field, his demeanor off of it, getting all the distractions away from him just to play football. He's done that fantastically. But now it's a different challenge. You know, he's used to getting into the flow of the game by watching first and then hopping in. You know, he's going to be the first one under center now. So how will he take that? I'm sure he's going to do fantastic. It is Danny Dimes. But it's going to be exciting to see. And then the last thing I thought of was, you know, it's just the Giants sparing the New England Patriots from yet another Eli orchestrated dominant performance. Although it's usually just in Super Bowls, but you get my point. So it appears that potentially the Giants could have that age-old rivalry between front office and coaching staff. And I really hope not. The last thing any franchise wants is a butting of the heads, so to speak, between coaching and front office. But it appears we might have that on the horizon. So, as you may have read and heard, John Mara and the other members like Gettleman of the front office are firmly standing behind Eli Manning, starting quarterback, week 1, graceful exit for the 2-time Super Bowl champion, which is much deserved. Anytime a player brings your franchise success, you want to reward him for that with your respect. But I believe the Giants kind of have already done that. Eli's obviously been on the decline, and I'm going to give him the beginning of this season to show that he still can play the game. But over the past few seasons, we've kind of given Eli that send-off. I was at the final home game of the past 2 seasons. Eli got a standing ovation because fans just assumed that this is it. And then a report will come out saying that he has no plans on retiring. He wants to play for at least 2 more years, and it can get interesting and tricky. As you may recall, Mara announced about 2 weeks ago at his State of the Team address that I did report on in a previous video that Eli Manning will be the starter. It's interesting when someone from the front office takes it upon themselves to report news like that. He's not exactly on the field every day watching the play, and it's just strange for it to come from him rather than the head coach. So now Pat Shurmur has stated that Eli Manning is going to be the starter. He most recently did just this past week. So now we all knew this realistically, that early on Eli is going to be the starter week 1. But based on what Shurmur said in that press conference, it's kind of leaving it up in the air as far as after week 1. So now Shurmur basically said that Eli is our starter, but we're getting Daniel ready to play. He's going to be ready when his time comes. He went on to say, it might be sooner than some people think. All of this is very different from what we're hearing from Gettleman and Mara from the front office of the Giants. So all I'm saying is I do hope that there is some commonality soon between the two, because the last thing we need is front office versus coaching staff, because we all know who's going to win that battle. And although maybe Shurmur hasn't endeared himself to the New York Giants fans as a guy like Tom Coughlin did, but at the end of the day, you don't want to ever see someone get fired. And that's kind of, in a way, being taken out of Shurmur's hands. If Eli starts week 1 and we take a loss, week 2 loss, week 3 loss, week 4 loss, and we're just on that downward trajectory, and the front office is not allowing Shurmur to make that decision to throw the rookie out there, Shurmur's here to win games. His job depends on him winning games. So if you're handicapping him by keeping him with a system that's just not working, and I'm not saying that it won't work, I'm just predicting what could happen potentially in the future. If we're sitting at 0-4, facing another losing season, and the front office is content on making this Eli thing a graceful exit, but also Shermer's job is contingent upon winning, that's going to be a very catastrophic situation. And that's all I got for you guys so far today. As always, if anything else is coming out of Giants camp, I will make sure to keep you up to date. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Yesterday, I uploaded yet another episode of the New York Giants franchise in Madden 20. So check out that full playlist here or down there. As I stated, anything coming out, I will keep you up to date. Everything you need to know leading up to the New England Patriots versus New York Giants in Foxborough this Thursday night. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one, guys.